out. Here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sports writer Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
Welcome into Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Coach Rich Basirico. I feel like an astronaut, and we've been on the launch pad now for like 3 days. And we get right close to actually doing this, and something goes wrong. And fortunately, none of us have been incinerated by a fire or anything terrible in astronaut parlance. We are all finally here. For some reason, actually, it's probably laziness on all of our parts. We did not do a show last week. We wanted to do something soon after the draft, and we've had nothing but technical issues since. We're here. We're under the bus. We should be under the bus. All of it brought to you, of course, by Hudson's on the Docks. Great restaurant on Hilton Head Island, where the weather has been spectacular for 2 weeks, and it's going to be spectacular for the next couple of weeks. If you're anywhere in the neighborhood, come on down, visit Hilton Head Island, a great place to visit as a tourist. And if you're down here, Hudson's on the Docks, the place to go. NFL draft is I think, at the top of mind still of a whole lot of people. Let's get into it. First of all, which one of us drafted Shadir Sanders? And which one of Curry, did you make that crank phone call?
You can't say his name. You got to say, you've heard his name 80,000 times in the last week. The draft seems like it was a month ago now, but I'm throwing the ESPN under the bus right away, because I'm blaming them for this whole Shadur Sanders thing that went on and on and on. I mean, they open, they always look for storylines. Of course, they had the automatic storyline with Shadur and his father, and they opened the show with that green couch. An empty couch in Canton, Texas. They had Canton, Texas on it. I said, "What is this?" They opened the show with that, and that was where Shadur was watching the draft from. Somewhere, nobody explained why it was Canton, Texas, and nobody explained, And then they came in the room, and all Shadur and his boys came in. But for a moment there, they just had that old green couch there. I thought, "What is this? This is ridiculous." So, I blame ESPN right off the bat. Of course, I think they benefited from Shadur dropping and dropping and dropping, because people stayed tuned in to see how low he'd go.
That's true. That is definitely true.
If he'd have been second round or third round, people, I think, would turn it off.
Turn the channel. Yeah, yeah, good stuff.
Well, don't you think he shot himself in the foot like a dozen times of what he said and what he did? And they even said that when he interviewed with some of the teams prior to the draft, some of the teams that he didn't want to play for, he just bagged it. He went in with a terrible attitude.
Yeah.
And even when the Giants interviewed him, they said it was the worst interview. Here's one of the assistant coaches. I don't think it was from the Giants. In all the years, it was the worst formal interview I've ever been through. That's pretty sad.
I heard one of the Giants questions, and this is what they do every year at the draft. They played the players' bad plays for them on a video, on a screen. They play all his bad plays, and then they ask the player, "What did you do? What happened there? Why was you so bad there? Whatever." And the Giants played that for Shadur, and he didn't like it. It didn't sit well with him, and so he actually, I just read this. I don't know. He actually said to them, "I don't think I'm the man for you." What in the what? And hey, Rich, I gotta
cross that one off. Yeah.
But ask Rich. The Giants flew all their guys out there in the last week to talk to. Flew all their guys to Boulder. They spent so much money on, all the stuff on pro days and workouts and dinners and Zoom calls. I mean, they spent so much. These teams spent so much money. The Giants alone spent so much on recruiting or looking at Sanders. They could have held that money and given it to Saquon last year, and they'd have enough money for Barkley.
They could try to bring him back, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't. They all do. They spend so much money in ridiculous ways, and I think some of when they go to the combine, they measure the size of their hands and how big is their hand and how long is their arms. And I always come back to, can he play? Can the guy play? They're worried about how high he can jump. When is he going to jump as a quarterback? When is he going to jump? I mean, sure. I mean, speed's important. I get that part of it. But some of the things, and they look at age. Okay, this guy's only 19, 21, 20. Tell me, can he play? Can he make an impact on the game? And when you're picking the Giants had the third overall pick, you better hit a home run. This is not like, well, I think he can make it. You better hit a home run. Now, there have been a lot of teams over the years that have struck out in the top 5 or 10 many times. But Sanders, I think, got the wrong uh, approach, and I think part of that's because of his dad. I think his
Well, of
dad
course,
told him to go in there and show a lot of confidence, be a little cocky, go in. I mean, he's wearing dollar signs on things around
of
his
course,
neck and in the
of course. Well,
background.
Rich, you called this about mid-season. I remember because we talked about Sanders a lot during his college season,
Yeah,
and you would always say, "I don't know. I don't know if he can play. I mean, I don't know if he can play." I mean, you had that,
right.
3 months ago. But it didn't help him. It didn't help him. His father was Dion. It really didn't because,
No, it didn't.
as I say, they showed the room where he was waiting, and there was all these signs on the wall, legendary, all that
Right.
legendary,
Right.
legendary, legend. I mean, could we show some humility here? Could we show, a little bit of humility? And that's all from Dion. And of
Yeah.
course, he said at one point, Dion said in the process, he said, "Well, I don't know. I got some teams that I know he's not going to go to." I mean, he's
Well,
picking
yeah.
his teams, and
That was a
he did.
mistake too.
Yeah, he said, "Well, I was doing an Eli." He said, "I was doing an Eli," meaning, of course,
Sure.
that's what Archie Manning did when Eli Manning was drafted,
Right.
and he kind of said the same thing, or he might have meant Eli. Kept saying Eli. He might have meant Eli Whitney, who founded the cotton gin, which made slavery more popular. So I hope he wasn't saying that.
Well, they
No.
kept on shooting themselves in the foot. Dion did. I mean, saying to teams, I don't want you to draft my son. Well, when you have a choice, if a team wants you, you can't sit there and go, I don't want you to draft me. I just read something today because of him running his mouth and being drafted where he was drafted. Was it 144 overall? They said he
Yeah.
lost between 30 and 50 million dollars because of where he was drafted. I mean, because people projected him being drafted definitely in the first round, and he falls to the third. So because of him running his mouth, he lost between 30 and 50 million dollars. How's that?
Well, and
It's
he
bad.
didn't play this. He didn't play the Senior Bowl. He didn't throw at the
Right.
combine.
Right.
Well,
He was. People looked. He was 1-7. His team was 1-7 versus top 25 teams. He was barely a 500 quarterback if you look at those numbers.
That's right.
And
did Cleveland get a great pick?
I
Did
don't
well,
think
Cleveland get a lot of value by getting this guy in the 5th round?
oh, you
time will
mean well,
tell.
you're talking about the
Time
trade
will
now?
tell. Yeah, I
Well,
don't.
You
no,
I
no.
talk,
I
wouldn't
mean,
have
I'm talking
drafted. I
about.
wouldn't have drafted him at all.
you
Yeah,
talking
I
about
mean, they got him in the 5th round. There's
you
now,
talking about you
all of
talking
a
about the
sudden,
trade now?
there's no pressure. Well, no, I'm saying where they, Cleveland drafted him at 144 in the 5th round.
Oh,
Did they
right.
get a great value here? I mean,
Well,
they got the
I
3rd
don't
pick of the
understand.
draft. 144.
I don't understand their quarterback room. They have Flacco and Pickett, and then they drafted this guy Dylan Gabriel from Oregon,
Oregon.
who went way before Shadur, and that
Right.
sent that. What was another great thing about the draft? It sent Mel Kiper absolutely nuts, and he went crazy. He went crazy when Cleveland drafted Dylan Gabriel. He
Poor
said
Mel.
he blurted out, "This is disgusting." I thought I thought his pompadour was going to fly off into the Green
Well,
Bay at
think
night.
about it. I mean, that's because Mel had Sanders as his number one quarterback, so now
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
making him look bad. But
yeah.
why do you draft Gabriel? See, now I think Giants used to have the worst draft in the last 5 years. Cleveland's number one now. Sorry, Bob. Cleveland's number one. Why do you take Gabriel at 3 and Sanders at 5? What are they both
Well,
going to make it?
they obviously wanted Gabriel,
He's
because
five
they
foot
picked
11.
him at what?
Well,
So
I'm gonna debate your Cleveland having a bad draft because
yeah,
the first
I
four
think
the
they had a
first
good one.
four pick the first four picks Cleveland made after that are probably going to be starters. They have
Wow.
the defensive tackle Graham from Michigan, the
Yeah, he's
linebacker
good.
Schwesinger
He's good.
from
Yeah.
UCLA, the running back Judkins from Ohio State,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the tight end Fannin from Bowling Green. People say those 4 guys might start for the Browns. So
That's
I'm
pretty
not
good.
sure
Yeah.
yeah. And they got all those guys in the, didn't they
I
make the
think when they got
trade?
to the 5th round, they said, "My God, this guy's still here."
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Maybe we
so.
lightning in a bottle. 5th
Yeah.
round picks. If any 5th round pick plays, you've hit lightning in a bottle because most of them
That's
don't.
true.
I thought it was interesting that Shiloh Sanders, Shadur's
Yeah.
brother,
Didn't get
who
drafted.
didn't get drafted, but after the draft, he switched
Yeah.
his agents from his
He,
father to
he
Drew
fired Dad.
Rosenhaus, and he got a contract with Tampa Bay. He basically fired his dad as
Right.
as advisor. So he
That's true. I'm more talking about. Maybe I should have said it differently. Talking about the 2 quarterbacks that they drafted. I don't think either one. Now, obviously, time will tell. You pick people. Brady gets drafted in the 6th round. Who knows? But I think the 2 quarterbacks that Cleveland picked, I don't think either one of them will make it in the NFL. But again,
Well,
time will tell. We'll see.
I'll give you a short quarterback who was drafted in the 3rd round, who is actually going to be leading your Giants this year. It would be
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you never
Well,
get it. You
Well,
never
no,
know. I mean,
Drew Brees. Drew Brees made it in the NFL. Doug Flutie made it in the NFL. I'm not saying it can't happen. I just you don't see a lot of guys under 6 feet tall making the NFL. But has it happened? Absolutely, without a doubt.
of
Um,
course,
and
remember the last quarterback the Giants picked was this guy with all of the tangibles. He did all of those things. His workouts were great. His numbers were good in
right,
college. And who's he playing for now?
the Colts.
Minnesota? No,
No, he's with the
Colts.
Colts now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see, he's been with
yeah.
2 other teams in the last 2 months.
I mean,
Crazy.
think about this. Do you think the Giants are better off right now in the quarterback situation without Daniel Jones? I think Daniel Jones is just as good as the guys they have in their roster right now. I think, right?
you don't like
But you
Russell
got
Wilson?
Scatabo. Your Giants got Scatabo. What a
Right.
great
Scatabo,
that.
my favorite player. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love the Giants draft this year. I
They'll
really
cut
do.
him.
I think they did extremely well.
Yeah.
I'll tell
Extremely
They'll
you
well.
what
cut
I
him.
loved. I loved, if we can talk about some other teams in our few minutes we got here left, but I love Jacksonville moving up and getting Hunter, getting a
Yeah.
Travis Hunter. I love that move. Now I think it gives Jacksonville, if this guy is Michael Jordan, which a lot of people say he is. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
people say this guy is going to change the game. If he's this good, Jacksonville made a great move, and it's going to give them relevance. People are going to want to watch them. People that
Yes.
aren't fans of they're not the team that goes to London anymore. If that's all they're known for, go to London a couple weeks every year. I just love that move. I also like the Bears. I think the Bears had a great draft. Their new coach is Ben Johnson,
Yeah.
who a lot of you guys don't understand, but he is a product of the University of North Carolina, by the way. He
Okay.
started
Wow.
there. Oh yeah, he played and blah blah blah. But they got this kid Loveland from Michigan, the tight end, and their next choice was Luther Burden, who's a slot receiver from Missouri, who I watched all year. And the reason I watched him is his name, Luther Burden. I remember as
Yeah.
a youngster watching, loving college basketball.
Yes.
One of my favorite players was a player at Utah, and his
Yeah.
name was Luther
It's-
Ticky Burden.
Right.
His
Yeah.
nickname
Tiki
was
Bird.
Ticky.
Yeah.
And I love the fact his nickname was Ticky. And sure enough, Ticky Burden is this guy's grandfather.
Oh, is it?
So,
Oh,
Grandfather.
wow.
yes,
That's
sir.
awesome.
Yes,
Curry,
sir.
we're getting old.
I know. I know.
I would have guessed. I thought he was the father. I'm
Well,
stunned. Oh my God.
well, that's how
Grandfather.
old I am. Yeah, Ticky Burden played for the Knicks
Yeah,
after he left
absolutely.
Utah.
He was a
Yeah.
good player. I
Oh
followed him
yeah.
in college too. He was terrific.
There he is.
There he
Very
is.
good. Yeah.
Tiki Bird, University of Utah.
So I'm
That's pretty
watching.
cool.
I don't know why Luther Burden, his grandson, isn't called Ticky. Also, that's too bad.
Tiki Junior.
But I think he's
That's
going to
good
be
stuff.
really good.
Any other great draft stories anybody want to tell before before we march on to the other. We'll talk North Carolina football because you brought it up with Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
If nobody has any more stories to tell about that,
Well,
let's.
just a quick one. I love the
Yeah,
Steelers draft. They picked a phone call. They basically drafted a phone call from what's his name, the guy from Aaron Rodgers. That was their draft. They're waiting for
Oh.
a phone call from Aaron
oh
Rodgers.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
What do you think? Why do you think Rogers is waiting this long? What's the he can't make a decision? It's
I
taking
don't
him
know.
this long.
I don't know.
Trying to drive the price up. I mean, he probably if Pittsburgh was willing to wait, I mean, the price just got higher, didn't it?
Wow. Well, Pittsburgh doesn't really have a starting quarterback on their roster right now. When you look
No,
at
they
their
don't.
roster, they did draft Howard from Ohio State in the sixth
Yep.
round, but I
Cannot
mean,
play. Cannot
Yep.
play.
no, I know. So who's their starting quarterback?
Mason
How about a
Rudolph.
shout? How about a shout out though to the Louisville quarterback Schuff? I
Yeah,
don't even know how you pronounce it. But drafted by the
Shuck.
Saints,
Right.
Yep.
and
Perfect
in the
place
dra-
for
in the draft, he had the best girlfriend. He had the best
him.
dog,
That's his
Yeah.
wife, Curry. That's
red
his wife.
setter, and he had it's his wife.
Yes.
Oh, probably his wife because he had the best fake out too, and the fake out is that he's about 40 years old. No, no, he will be 26 though when he
Right.
starts the
Yeah.
season.
Yeah,
He's
but
got
see,
a
that's
kid
the
that's
thing
going to
that
be drafted in a couple of years, doesn't he? Yeah.
well, that's the same thing talking about age. Look, if he can start and play and start for 10 years, how many teams have had a quarterback start for them for 10 consecutive
Yeah, can he
years?
play?
Not
Can he
many.
play? Yeah,
Can he play? But I
yeah,
like where he went. I mean, the Saints, he's got a legitimate shot to
yeah,
play right away, you know?
Absolutely, he
So,
does. Yeah, good
yeah.
stuff. All right,
yeah. The
let's.
Saints had a chance to get any of these guys,
Yep.
and except for Cam Ward, the first choice, the
Yeah.
Saints had
Right.
a shot to get any of these other people.
Right.
Rich, you haven't mentioned the quarterback
Dar,
that the Giants did draft.
yeah, see, I mean, I like him because obviously they couldn't get Cam Ward. The only thing that I didn't understand is why did they have to trade up to get him? Because everybody from 26, they picked him in the 25th pick, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. All those teams had veteran quarterbacks. Green Bay, Buffalo, um, Washington, Kansas City. None of those teams were going to draft a quarterback. Now, yes, Cleveland was in front of them and could have picked a quarterback there.
I
But
think
why do
that's
they
what
have to
they
go
thought.
from
I think
30,
that's what.
33 to 25? I didn't understand that.
Well,
That's the
Well,
you
only.
got to find somebody who'll trade with you,
Well, that's
the,
and
true.
maybe 26 through 30 wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
And
but the
you find a guy you want. I mean, go get him. You certainly
right.
don't want to say, "Darn, I wish we'd have traded up to get the
Well,
guy."
that's true. I mean, that's true. And I think, you heard
Cleveland
going
traded up
into
to
the
get Shador.
yeah, well, no, I'm so happy they didn't get him. I am so happy. I told my friends if they get him, I might start rooting for the Jets. I just did not want him. But
Woo!
Dart, when the season ended, it wasn't like he was really high in everybody's list. I mean, they were talking about him in the second round, and then I guess after pro day and whatever, everybody fell in love with him, except for his happy feet. If you watch some of his tapes, and the only reason I know this is because I listen to guys analyze stuff. And he does have some footwork issues, but I mean, obviously that's all correctable.
What a great name for New York, though.
Yeah,
Jackson Dart.
he is a great name for a quarterback, but
Yeah.
he's not going to play at all though. Rich, is he behind these two other
Oh
guys?
no, not this
He's not
first
going
year.
to play.
No, no,
Yeah,
no, not at all.
And that's the smartest move. He doesn't have to.
Right.
I mean, that's
Exactly.
what you do with a rookie quarterback is you
Yeah.
hopefully you get to sit him and not have to play him. All right, we're going to bring up a name from Giants past that is still making news. His name is Belichick. We're going to talk about him when we come back. Oh, Curry on Carolina and Bill Belichick. We're going to throw some folks under the bus when we come back in a moment. Welcome back to Under the Bus, brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks on Hilton Head Island. You want to look at their menu, get a feel for what a great old traditional seafood place is like right on the docks on Hilton Head Island. Visit hudsonsonthedocks.com. Bob Stevens, Curry Kirkpatrick, Rich Basirico. We're throwing folks under the bus. And Curry, the big story that we're still talking about post-draft, Bill Belichick managed to get himself interviewed for Sunday morning. I watched it live, saw it, and it was
Me
a typical
too.
Belichick interview. Horrible, except maybe for the cut-ins of his girlfriend. I'll let you pick up the story from there.
Well, they only showed one cut in. Apparently, she interrupted a lot of times, and CBS chose to show one of them. I'll go at this from University of North Carolina's point of view now, because I know a lot of people at the school, and they were really concerned about this whole Belichick thing now because of this girl, Jordan Hudson, 24-year-old, the babe that he's been dating. And she's apparently, she gets all these, he put her on the email list. So she gets all the emails that Belichick shares with the staff and the university.
Is she on Pete Hegseth's email list?
She claims he says he calls her his creative muse, but it's really, as you saw the interview, Bob, he seemed bewildered. He seemed really, and people were joking. This is elder abuse that the 24-year-old Jordan Hudson has imprisoned him, and he can't get away. But from the and I'm embarrassed for my university for this, because this is, he's become the whole thing's become a laughingstock. Yeah. I mean, it's a subject for late night comedy now. And nobody knew about this until the interview, I don't think. But now I want to ask about CBS though. Why in the world did CBS let her sit right beside the set with a bunch of microphones by her so that they could hear her interrupt? I've never seen anything like this with politicians interviewed, movie stars that they have their handlers around. But this handler is sitting right there, and she's actually interrupting. Why did CBS let her do this? I'll tell you why. I think that Belichick demanded that she be there, and that was the condition.
I don't think Belichick did. I think she did.
Well, she did, but then if they say no, you can't, then Belichick says, "Okay, I'm not doing it." CBS keeps claiming there were no preconceived conditions. But to have her sitting there, that certainly was a condition, I'm sure.
But Curry, one of the questions she was upset about was, how did you guys meet? I've heard that 15 times. They met on an airplane. So why was that such a big question? Why was she upset about it? Because everybody knows, or supposedly that's where they met, on the plane. And then he wrote a note or something, and then they contacted each other. So that's no mystery.
They've answered that many times in the past with that story. Some people apparently do not believe that story.
Okay.
And that's why, they think that she was an escort or something, an escort service. And that's why the nickname, some of the students in North Carolina have already nicknamed the couple Hoodie and the Hoe. So I don't know if we can get away with that.
She walks on the field during spring practice. She walks on the field you got to be kidding me. He should be telling, get out of here. You cannot come on the field. I can't even imagine my wife coming to him. I'm talking about high school now. I'm not even talking about major college. A small high school where my wife would come walking on the court to talk to me. You got to be kidding me. What wife walks on the court or the field it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hey, Curry, is this going to blow up? Is this going to blow up before the season starts? Is Bill Belichick going to end up not coaching at North Carolina?
Well, it already blew up. They were supposed to do a Hard Knocks show in the off season, and apparently the word is that she individually blew that up on her own. It was
Wow.
all done. The contracts were signed and everything. And she apparently told Belichick, "You're not doing this. We don't want to do this because, it would get into their private life and all that stuff." So she blew that up.
Huh.
And this isn't going to, I'll tell you one thing, this is not going to work. I don't know if it's even before the season starts or they go a season, but 1 year is the absolute ceiling for this deal. I'm sure.
But
Well,
I
Bob,
mean,
maybe it
it's,
gets him
I
back in
mean,
the
you
NFL.
guys, seriously, it is embarrassing for me
of
as a
course.
graduate in the University of North Carolina to see this happening, because she's he, and I know that people in the athletic department already have found him hard to work with, and they
Oh,
don't like working with him because he
See,
and
there's a
Michael
surprise.
Lombardi, who's his GM,
yeah.
Yeah.
they don't go through the university to do anything. They all do everything on their own, with Jordan apparently choosing what they do. I mean, it's really amazing.
That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. I mean, they
No.
should know going into this whole thing when they're interviewing Belichick. Look what happened when in New England. I mean, him and Brady finally they didn't get along at the end, and the owner didn't, Kraft didn't get along with him. Why do they think that it's going to work at the college level?
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's a named guy. I understand all that, but I mean, I always saw some of the headlines online where someone said they should get rid of him right now.
One of his former Patriot players said that,
That's right.
he that he shouldn't be allowed to coach a college football team, to be you know a hero to college kids from
Yeah.
what he's doing with this girl. I mean, I don't mind the relationship at all. I mean, the 40-year age difference or something. I
Right.
don't, there's a lot of that going on. But when it's affecting his job, which it obviously is, and his position, I mean, he's a figure of some respect, at least,
Right.
for his football acumen. And
Yeah.
apparently during the interview, the CBS guy asked him about Kraft, because Kraft is nowhere in
Right.
the book. He's written this book
Right.
about my life as a football coach, and nobody
Yeah.
cares about that. They want to hear about, the thing with Brady, his relationship with Brady, his relationship with Kraft, Deflate Gate, all the other gates. They want to hear about all that. None of that's in the book. It's ridiculous. So I don't
So
know.
Kraft's not mentioned in the book at all. No.
No, they asked him.
No.
The guy asked him about that.
No.
Well, it came up when Belichick said that he had a mutual parting with the Patriots, whereas Kraft has said before that he was fired. And the guy asked Belichick about this a couple times, and he kept saying, "No, it's a mutual agreement. No, it's a mutual agreement." He didn't go into any
Right.
of it.
Right. Yeah.
But apparently,
Crazy.
and I don't know if any of it's in. I think he asked him about it because I think Kraft is nowhere in the book.
Yeah. How
All
about
right,
that?
Curry, you can only throw one person under the bus for this mess at Carolina. Who do you throw under?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the name if it's just one person, but the athletic director never wanted this to happen. He was
Right.
after some other coaches, and some rich alumni were so I don't know, enthusiastic that Bill Belichick would show interest, that they just bow down to him and said, "We're hiring him. Don't worry about anything else. We're going to hire Bill Belichick," which is what happened. And so it's the athletic director, Bubba Cunningham, who's a
Right.
respected guy,
Yeah.
he's out in the cold on this one. I mean, it's as
So
Rich
so
said,
so you're
it's never going
denying
to work.
and so you can deny right here in front of all of us that you are that rich alumni that made
Yeah,
sure that
yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
Belichick got the job.
I'll deny Rich, and yeah.
All right, let's take one more quick break. We're going to come back. We're talking about something that you guys know a whole lot more than I do about. I just know who's really good. We're going to talk about the NBA playoffs. They are going. They're about to be done with the first round, and I think we've learned a little bit. But we'll also have some people to throw under the bus when we come back. Under the Bus, brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and the coach, Rich Basirico. You guys are the hoop guys. Cleveland did okay in the first round. Oklahoma City did okay in the first round. I still think they're the two best teams. I know Rich still pulling for those Knicks to get out of the first round.
That might not happen. Who knows
and
the way they
Curry has
played
got
yesterday?
LeBron. Curry's got LeBron going to the finals, I'm sure. Fire away, boys.
No.
Well,
Go
let me
ahead,
talk about the
Rich.
Knicks last night. Did you guys watch the end of that game? You know,
Oh yeah.
he said he's got two of his best players on the sidelines. They got hurt, but he was putting them back in the game. And for a minute and a half, he doesn't call a timeout and then calls a time with 27 seconds left. You're saving your timeout for what? You're down 6. Your two best play, maybe not the two best players, but Brunson is probably their best player, and
Brunson and Hart,
Hart
and they're
is
at
a
the
very
scores
good
table.
player.
They're
So
standing at the scores table to
I
go in.
know for a minute and 30 seconds. What are you waiting for? To
When
have
was
one of
the
your
last?
players foul somebody, have somebody foul. I mean, you must have a
Just say, when
signal.
was the last time an NBA game in the final 2 minutes went more
Never.
than a minute without a
Right.
foul
Yeah.
called or a timeout
Never.
taken? It's never happened.
Exactly. But you
Well,
got
the
to have
Knicks
a
went.
signal, like when you want one of your players to foul. We used to have grab our, our shirts, let them know, foul somebody, then the clock stops, you get them in. But to let
To a
that
lot of
much time
people,
go by is
Rich, a lot of people
crazy.
criticize Tibbs for not calling timeout. Of course, it would have been his last timeout. He
That,
wouldn't have had any
well,
left. But
that you
still,
still
you've got it.
you got to put
The
your
Knicks went
best
down.
players on the floor.
The Knicks went down 4 points in that time, 6-2, while Brunson and Hart are standing at the table. I
Correct.
mean, and they couldn't get it back in because there was no stoppage of play.
Well,
So
foul somebody. Have the player
Tibbs has
foul
got to
somebody.
stop. Tibbs has got to
Right.
stop the play, or do something.
Right.
Yeah, I think he's going.
Slam a clipboard down and get a T. Well, I mean, do something to get the stuff. It's crazy. I couldn't believe it. I'm screaming at the TV. Call a timeout. Well, he only has one left. So, I mean, it's like losing the game and coaches. Well, I had to save my timeout. Save your timeout. The game went from 4 to 20. What are you saving it for? You got to use it when it's time to use it, and that was time to use it. So,
Well,
Rich, did you ever
I
not
want
do
to.
that,
What's
what?
that?
Coach? Did you
What's
ever
that?
not get the timeout that you needed to get things done? I mean, did you ever have
Well,
that happen to you?
it's yeah, it's funny. Everybody has their own philosophy, and I know coaches, good dear friends that say, "Well, I'm going to save my timeouts for later in the game," which obviously is important. But if the game gets away from you, if you go from a 6 point being down 6 to being down 16, great, you got all your timeouts left. Well, you're out of the game now. The game's a 16, 20 point game. Not that you can't come back. I know teams come back from that. But we're talking about high school now, 32 minutes, right? Not a a 40-minute college game or a 48 pro game. You got to use your timeouts when to stop momentum, stop a team on a run. Your team's not playing well. And I'm going to save them to the end. Save them to the end for, I mean, yes, do I want timeouts at the end of the game? Absolutely, without a doubt. But if you need to use them during the game so the game doesn't get away from you, you have to use them. Simple as
Curry,
that.
first round observation.
I got
What do you
another
got?
coach to ask you about. I got another coach to ask about, Rich. He's going under the bus, and that's JJ Redick.
Yeah.
Plays 5 guys the entire
Right.
second half of the game
Crazy.
the other night. Plays all
Absolutely.
his 5 Lakers. No substitutions at all. And of course, they lose
Wow.
the game. I mean, LeBron did not score in the fourth quarter.
There you go.
Luka was terrible. Was walking around on bad legs. And LeBron, I know LeBron takes off. He takes off whole offensive plays to rest. But
Yep.
he not only took it, he looked like he was asleep in the fourth quarter. He like stayed in the corner and never went anywhere. And he played tough defense, but he
Curry.
never.
Well, there's your
You got to
inexperience of
substitute.
JJ. There's your inexperience of
Yeah,
a head
yeah,
coach. We talked about when he got the job, like the guy's only coached 10-year-olds. And I mean, he was a great player, but he doesn't mean you're going to be a great coach. His inexperience as a professional coach is showing right now in the playoffs.
yeah.
Does he have
And
a veteran
he's got.
assistant?
They go game. What is it? Game 5 Wednesday night. Now they're on the brink. We'll see if he plays those 5 guys the whole
You
fourth
can't win
quarter. He
that way.
can't do it.
You
No.
cannot win that way. I get mad at Tibbs at the Knicks because he doesn't play enough guys. I think that's a mistake. He has guys that he bragged about after they won their first playoff game about how coming off the bench and they did so well and they were great and handled the ball, and they shot extremely well. And then the next game, he plays each of them 4 minutes. Like what? You show all this confidence in him, then you don't play him. I don't get it.
Well, Reddick's pals in the media all said, well, he's coaching a flawed team. Well, every team is flawed. Come on, every team is flawed. And we know that where the Lakers are really flawed is where they called off that trade. They were going to trade for Mark Williams, and they called it off. That's before they even got Luka. So we know where their weakness is.
Yeah.
But he's got a substitute. And
especially LeBron. LeBron's 40.
Yeah, he's 40, and he looked 50 in that game.
Play? Yeah.
Yeah. He does some
Wait,
spectacular things on defense, but he really takes off on offense. That's where he gets his rest. I mean, he's looking over at ice. He should take himself out. I mean, LeBron basically coaches half the game anyway. He should have taken himself out, I think. And
hey, Coach,
let me ask you this. So let me ask you this about the rules. I am so confused about these challenges and reviews and, what do you challenge? What do you, 2 plays on the same night? It was a couple of games ago, but the Lakers and the Wolves are playing. The Wolves are up by 1 late in the game, like a minute to go. Ant-Man drives the baseline. LeBron confronts him. Ball goes out of bounds. It's given to the Lakers. The Wolves challenge the call, challenge the out of bounds call. Now they go off and they take 10 minutes to look at who. And as they're looking at the play, they see that LeBron smacked Ant-Man on the wrist. So they call a foul on LeBron. So instead of Lakers getting the ball, Minnesota gets 2 free throws with Ant-Man on the line. He makes the 2. They go ahead by 3. They win the game. Right. I mean, what is the deal? Is that legal? Can you get, if you go to review an out of bounds call, you can call a foul?
I thought you just had to look at the call that they.
I know you should. You can't call a foul when they call an out of bounds challenge. And it was I mean, they kept replaying on TV. It was very light. I mean, it wasn't really, it shouldn't have been called a foul on LeBron, first of all. No way. Now, if that's so important, there's a review that's so important. The same night, the Knicks are playing in Detroit. Yeah. And it's the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And Hardaway has the ball on a scramble in the corner. He goes up for the jump shot, and Josh Hart bodies this guy practically in the Ford factory, into the Ford factory, kills him. No call, end of game. Knicks win, no challenge, no review, no foul shots for Hardaway. He would have gotten 3 free throws to make up a 1-point difference. So Detroit's going to win the game. I mean, it's a lose-win deal. No call.
Right.
They don't review
and
that.
Hart even said after the game, he goes, "Yeah, I hit him."
Well, 10 minutes after the game, the NBA announced, yes, it was a foul.
Yeah,
10 minutes after the game. What good does that do? But why can't that be reviewed? I mean, why? If reviews are so important to the NBA and challenges and they've got to change the rules and got to have a challenge for an end of the play winning basket.
Well, the first thing that has to change is in the playoffs, for whatever reason, the officials are allowing these guys to hold, grab, slap. One guy last night was running to go to the screen, and the guy defending him grabbed him in the back of his shirt and pulled him towards him. Like, what is that? How is that not a foul? They allow so much contact. It's ridiculous. I mean, they're hammering each other, and there's been no fouls. I think we should send all the NBA officials under the bus. I mean, it's unbelievable how they're allowing these kids. I mean, the professional players, to make contact like they do. It's over the top. It's not a basketball game. It's a football game or a rugby game.
Miami Heat coach Eric Spoelstra is asking for a review of the entire tape of that final game for his Heat, playing at home.
The 50-point
playing game. At home for fighting for your life, so to speak. And they get beat by what, 55?
55.
And it was over in the first 30 seconds. Miami drove, Cleveland made a steal, made a layup, game over. First 15 seconds of the game. I mean,
Pat Riley Pat Riley had to sit there and watch that whole thing. I was stunned. Here's the great Pat
Did he
Riley
stay?
sitting there.
Did he stay and watch it all?
Oh yeah, he stayed. Yeah, he stayed. I think that.
Oof, that was ugly.
That
Well,
was ugly.
And speaking of the referees, they made, there was a call 2 nights before that, the great catch the missed shot and dunk the ball that Aaron
Yeah.
Gordon for the Denver made
the
against the Clippers. I mean, I'm watching that in real time, and I said, that ball, this shot's good. It's good. What are they talking about? They had to they reviewed that for about 10 minutes, different ways, different looks, and you could see on the replay the guy dunked it, and then the lights came on the thing. It was obviously a score, and how the refs took 10 minutes to review that, I'll never. Come on.
They do it all the time. They do it all.
Yeah, it takes them. Yeah.
They show it to the fans, and we sit there and go, "Oh, okay, that was good," and we figure it out in 30 seconds. They, like you say, Curry, they take 10 minutes. I mean, what are they looking at differently than we're looking at? I mean,
I know. Well, and they challenge again. This challenge at the end of the game where Hardaway gets blasted by your boy Hart, and they don't. There's no call. There's no call. The poor Detroit coach is walking onto the court going, what? I mean, they've got to. I don't know. Every time they challenge everybody. Every time somebody picks their nose on the court, they challenge it.
It takes away
and
from
they don't
watching the
challenge the
game.
most important moments in the game.
It takes away from the game. It takes away the momentum of the game. If you're a player, do you want to have to stop and then wait for 10 minutes? As a fan, it's you might as well go and cook yourself a hot dog and French fries and come back, and things still would be looking at the replay. I don't like it at all. I just go back to the old school way. You make a call and you move on.
Oh, no replay. I sometimes think it would be better without replay.
I do.
It changes the whole rhythm of the game. You're right, Rich.
Yeah.
It stops the game. If they don't do it at the end of the game, they do it, in the middle of the quarters.
Right.
It stops the rhythm. It stops every, the flow. Everything stops. Well,
all right, let's wrap this thing up in 60 seconds. Curry, Kentucky Derby this weekend. What do you got?
Well, I used to have a beloved dog, a Cocker Spaniel named Sandman, and Sandman passed away on Easter Sunday a few years ago, but he was my beloved dog. And the 6-1 third choice in the Derby is Sandman. So I am betting on Sandman.
All right.
It won the Arkansas Derby. It won the Arkansas Derby. I
like horses that win the Arkansas Derby. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I got to go with journalism. I mean, come on.
Oh, that's you guys for sure. You have to go with that.
It's journalism.
Sure.
I think it's journalism.
Yeah, journalism. Yeah.
Okay, that's a journalist.
Yeah,
okay.
no,
isn't it going to rain there at Churchill Downs?
Oh man, that would be awful.
If it's raining, you got to pick a mutter. You got to pick a mutter. So I got to figure this out. I got to figure out who's the mutter.
That would make it more. That would make it more dangerous than it already is. 20 horses smashing into each other.
But you can't control Mother Nature.
I mean, it was 20 horses smashing into each other as they come out of the gate. That looks like Green, Draymond Green, and who's the guy for the other guy that everybody hates.
20 minutes. Yeah. All right, guys, we've used way too much time. We've given people a little something to think about. Let's book it again next week. Let's get back together. Coach Rich Basirico, Curry Kirkpatrick. I'm Bob Stevens. We've thrown a lot of people under the bus. I bet we've got a whole lot more we'll do next week. Thanks again to Justin Jarrett for putting this thing together. Under the Bus, brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks. Thanks for joining us, gang.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Under the Bus is a production of the Loco Media Network and is filmed on the Hilton Head Island campus of the University of South Carolina, Beaufort. The executive producer is Justin Jarrett, with assistance from Trey Ramsey, Mahogany Hickman, and Adam Carroll.